Are you ever going to be able to afford a home here in San Diego? That is a question that we are answering today. How much does it actually cost? How much money do you need to make? And can you realistically afford a home here? That's what we're going to try and answer today. And this is our new series. My name is Dan Parker with the Best Life Home Team, your San Diego real estate resource. This is our new series where we take your questions, your comments, and we spend 6 to 8 minutes answering them in great detail. So if you have questions about the San Diego real estate market, drop them down below and I will absolutely get to them and spend time actually coming up with a detailed response for you. So our question today comes from Laura Keller, and she says she currently lives in San Diego. She makes great money, but she doesn't really see any hope of being able to afford a home, and neither do her friends. Very depressing thought that in 30 years, she will have spent over $2 million on rent money that she will never see again. That's tough. This is a sentiment that is shared by a lot of people. Absolutely. So now we actually want to see, like, what realistically will it take? If you say you're making great money, what would it actually take for you to be able to get your foot in the door on a home here in San Diego County? So a couple of tools that I can share with you guys. Number one is when you are looking at buying a house, what you want to do is you want to start by figuring out what you can afford. Now, ultimately, you want to talk to a professional. You want to talk to a loan originator. You want to talk to your bank to see how much of a loan, how big of a loan are they actually going to approve you for? That's obviously going to be very important when you want to buy a house, but you can start out by yourself by doing some preliminary research to figure out what makes sense, what type of budget would be comfortable. And I'll start by saying the reality is here in San Diego, a lot of people, their budget is a little bit uncomfortable. Doable, not making a poor decision based on their finances, but obviously home prices are high and most people, pretty much no matter what budget they're in, spending a little bit more money per month than they realistically would want to. But let's break this down for you. So there are mortgage calculators. This one is from Zillow. There are plenty of mortgage calculators out there. It doesn't really matter too much which one you rely on, but I'm actually going to say not a mortgage calculator. What I recommend is an affordability calculator. And this kind of does it in reverse. This you actually plug in your information. What is your income? What are your monthly debts? What is your down payment? How much money do you have? Or do you even have any money to put forth for a down payment? And that's exactly what this is talking about here. You can also get into more advanced options. So this is it's going to calculate your debt to income ratio. It has a little definition of it here that is important to know when figuring out what a bank is going to approve you for. This is plugging in interest rate of 5.97%. This is actually going to fluctuate up and down based on what rates are currently at. This is not a guarantee. In fact, I think most lenders are a little bit higher than this, probably closer to 6.5 right now. But for simple math, plug in your information, plug in your debts, plug in your down payment, and see what this says you can afford. This is a good starting point. So this example, $100,000, you have $500 in monthly debts, car payments, something like that, and you have $100,000 sitting around to put for a down payment on a house. You can afford a $432,000 home. If you are making $50,000, then realistically, you can afford a $200,000 home, which in San Diego is going to be very, very difficult to find. A lot of people I work with are somewhere around the $200,000 range, maybe above that. And let's just say you're trying to get to that $1 million property. Ideally, you'd have 20% down. It's not necessary. There are plenty of programs out there that do 3% or even 0% down, but you do have to consider closing costs as well. But to get close to that $1 million home mark, you need to make around $200,000. And think of this isn't just you, this is the family income. So if you live by yourself, if you are a single income earner, then it can be obviously a little bit more challenging. But if there are two people in a household and they are both working, it's a lot easier to get to that number. So $948,000. When you look in San Diego County, if we have a up to $950,000, there's no doubt there are options. We can see here, we're coming up with 859 opportunities throughout San Diego. This is actually just the city of San Diego. So there are homes for sale. For sure, a lot of these are going to be attached properties, condos, and townhomes. But you can also find single-family homes as well. I think a big part of this is, and this is what we go over in our discovery sessions, is where do you work? Do you have to drive to work? Can you go to kind of the outskirts? Can you go to San Marcos or Escondido? Can you go a little bit farther east? Can you go a little bit farther south to get more affordability? Do you want more house for your money? Are you willing to live in a single or an attached property? Or do you really want a detached property with a garage? There are a lot of factors involved here, but obviously just know if you have close to $1 million budget, there are options that are available. In fact, the median price home in San Diego County is just under $900,000 right now. So there are options available. Now, I will say a lot of times when people reach out to me and say, Dan, I want a single family home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a decent or a nice neighborhood in a decent school district, it really is starting somewhere around the $900,000 mark. Now, that's not always the case because I have a client who just closed just under $700,000 for what we believed ticked a lot of those marks. But let's go back to the affordability calculator real quick here because I want to show you another scenario. Obviously, if you can afford $1 million house, you can find something here in San Diego. But let's say $150,000, and for down payment, you have $50,000. Okay, so you can afford a $554,000 house. And also keep in mind, just because this is what's saying is your max budget, what's saying you can afford, doesn't mean that's what you want to spend. So maybe you're trying to stay below $500,000. I think that would be pretty reasonable. So for $500,000 here in San Diego County, again, there are options available. This is actually just the city of San Diego. There are 218 properties for sale. Now, this is going to be almost exclusively attached properties, condos and townhomes. And like this looks pretty darn nice. I haven't looked at this yet. They're very nice interior. This is located in Mission Valley. Very nice property. I think a lot of people would like living here. And the reality is, I think this is the situation that we're getting to here in San Diego is if you want to get your foot in the door, if you desperately want to become a homeowner, then maybe you just need to sacrifice, or the reality is maybe you can't get a single family home starting off. Maybe you need to get your foot in the door to find something that is within your budget, but maybe it's an attached property. Maybe it's not your dream home. A lot of people don't buy their first home and it's their dream home, but it's a foot in the door. It's the opportunity to gain some appreciation, gain some equity in a property so that you can eventually ratchet up to a new home. A lot of people that I work with, they've built equity on another house before they bought $1 million or $2 million house. That's just the way it works. So hopefully this added a little bit of insight for you. Remember, this is a series where I'm answering your questions. So if you have a question or comment, leave it down below. And if you want some more information, of course, there's a lot that I left out that's going to deal with exactly your specific scenario. So if you want some more information, we have a link down below for our discovery session where we can help you figure out for your budget where you can afford in San Diego and what neighborhoods make sense to you. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you on the next one.